How's it going, guys? We are back with another episode, and guys, it gets better and better. Today, we have Lauren. Let's go!
Yay! Welcome, Lauren. We're so
Thank
excited to have
you.
you back. I mean, it was such an honor to watch you work on Chaos for our Hades challenge previously. Welcome back. Would you like to do a little intro for yourself for people who maybe don't know who you are yet?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Lauren Lapierre Armande, and I'm a senior character artist. I'm currently working at Scopely, and been working in games for maybe 10 years now.
Awesome. Awesome.
That's a lot of years.
Mm.
Yeah, too long.
I remember you saying for the Hades challenge that it was the first time you had finished a big personal project in a couple years. Is there any pressure from you, now that you finished Hades to kind of keep that momentum going and to continue doing challenges like this?
Hmm. Um, I always have this urge to like work on another personal project after I finished one. And I wouldn't say it's really pressure, but it's like there's a momentum. And especially if it's like I see other people making really cool work and yeah, I feel really motivated to do the same thing. So it's that kind of like you're sort of like riding the wave with everyone else more than pressure, I'd say.
Mm-mm. That's nice. That's a nice way to think about it. I think it's the thing with this
Woof.
collaboration. It's kind of like, yeah, the togetherness and everyone taking part that makes you want to keep doing and carrying on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And for this challenge, you doing someone from the Ace Attorney gang, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. I'm making Barok van Zieks from the Great Ace Attorney, which is like a set
Oh,
sort of in I think it's like the early 1900s England. And he's a very sort of cranky looking prosecutor that loves wine and throwing his leg on the court bench.
I
So
keep seeing the
ooh.
gifs. Yeah, interesting, interesting. I remember
very
even
normal guy.
before we had come up with like the Capcom theme as a whole, you were hoping for Ace Attorney to be its whole category. Have you been quite a big fan for a long time?
Yeah. I started playing I think the first Ace Attorney game when I was 14, and I kind of played it because I saw a lot of memes online, and I didn't think it was going to be all that interesting. But then I got really, really hooked on it, and before I knew it, I had played like the 4 games that were out so far. And yeah, then every time a new game released, I just kept coming back to it, and I still love it very much. They're fun games.
Do you want to show
Oh.
some of like your art books and things?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So okay, I've got a lot of stuff on my desk, but like
Ooh.
related to this challenge specifically, I've got art books for like both the Great Ace Attorney games.
Oh my God.
So it's like because there's only two of them.
Mm.
And then I get beautiful reference in it of Van Zieks because he's got pages and pages of concept art.
Is he quite like a main
Uh,
character?
Yeah, so like all Ace Attorney games have like a prosecutor that you face off against, and he's the main prosecutor for both the Great Ace Attorney games. So there he is.
Ooh,
oh, look
pretty.
at the
Yay.
aura, dude.
Double page spread.
Double page spread.
And he lives in like a jail cell, I guess,
Really?
for part of the game. Parrots.
Interesting.
Bird's
Yes,
going crazy.
my
Bird
bad. Just
also
get
loves parrot.
excited. Yeah, yeah. Excited for
Like
the
every
challenge, dude.
I mean,
Nice,
that's
that's
really
lovely. And
cool.
yeah, I was just wondering
yeah.
how's I guess your preparation when it comes to the challenge. Is it like first you do like, I guess kind of research, then you go to your art books, and after that you start preparing like what kind of art style you're going for?
Yeah, more or less. I kind of knew I wanted to do an Ace Attorney character the moment that yeah, Capcom. And I wasn't too sure which Ace Attorney character because I thought maybe I'll do my favorite character, who's not in the Great Ace Attorney games. He's in like the mainline series. But the thing is that the materials to me on a lot of the sort of mainline Ace Attorney characters aren't as interesting. And I really love texturing and thinking a bit too hard about like, oh, what could that fabric be? So I wanted to pick a character that had a good balance between, like metals, fabrics, and just like different types of fabrics. And there were a couple of characters that I was interested in, Van Zieks, and then another character that's a bit of a spoiler. And I just thought, well, another thing is that I love these games and I'd love for other people to play them. And I don't think going for a spoiler character is like the best. way
Mm.
to sell that. Because kind of a big reveal from the second Great Ace Attorney game as well. So that's how I ended up on Zeeks. And it's hard not to pick the guy with the like leg slap weirdness going on.
Yeah,
For
he's
sure,
super
for sure.
cool. I
And you
think
also did
you
a Ace
I
Attorney
was about to say, yeah.
character. Yeah, you did
Mm.
a Ace Attorney character before, right? And I was just wondering, like, how was that? And like, I guess, what did you learn from the last experience? And maybe what do you want to like push this time when you approach this character?
Yeah. So I made like Franziska from von Karma. She's from the I guess like the mainline games, and I think that's like a project I made. I started before I got my first role as a character artist proper, and I was pretty close to finishing it. I just wanted to finish the project, so it's a bit like older than it looks in terms of when I actually finished it up. And I remember struggling quite a lot with like the face and the likeness and really like capturing the style of the characters, especially from the older games. They look a bit different. And yeah, I just never really felt like I fully got there. So my goal for this challenge was kind of I want to really get closer to the likeness with this. I want to make the materials like I don't know shine even more. Like I did get a lot of I did a lot of experimentation with that model, but I've learned a lot since. And yeah, what else? Like this is also more a takeaway from the last challenge, like the Hades challenge, but for Francisca as well, I had a rig, and I just felt like you can't really get the poses the way you want them in there unless you're like really closely working together with someone who's rigging it for you and like listening to the feedback and everything. So I promised myself like whatever you do, don't try to rig this character. Um, even though the time constraints, it like just I don't think that would work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think the time constraints are there in place to kind of let everyone call the project done, and so we don't run wild with a personal project. But it's also nice that you kind of get to revisit this, and one of the first pieces you've ever made in a way, as a character
Mhm.
artist, and kind of redo things that you have done before. That being said, do you mind
Yeah.
if we jump into sort of your progress of Barok so far and have a look at how you're going?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Exciting.
I'll take a sip of tea.
Wow, we whoa, look at this guy. Ay, ay, ay,
Yeah.
ay, ay.
So you can see he means business
He
and
does.
he has amazing quotes. This is wine and the wine bottle that he throws around. But yeah, like I don't know, I like his face. Um, I like
Don't
his
we
sort of
all?
angry expression. I I always avoid I don't know, I just don't enjoy sculpting guys as much most of the time. Um, I guess because it's like in a lot of jobs you end up doing that a little bit more. So it's not the kind of character I usually pick, which is also interesting. But yeah, the way I approached it, I guess starting off is kind of I know from experience and work that if I have a sort of semi decent low poly to begin with, then I can just it's easier to work faster.
Right.
Mm.
So I decided I'm gonna try to just kind of block out the entire character first, including most of the little details, which is not something I usually have the patience to do. But that's in part because during the Hades challenge, I was working in such a chaotic way that I kind of got confused by what I was doing myself some of the time, and I don't feel like it really got together until maybe right at the end, and that was I don't know, just a bit more stressful than it needed to be.
Oh, he worked on
So
chaos, so it makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense. It all it's part of the process. But yeah, kind of the first thing I start off with usually is like get some reference material. So I got like a corner here with official art, and luckily for me, they have like several angles of his face, like a bit of you know
Nice.
Mm.
Expressions
interesting.
as well.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
front
So
view,
he's
right?
got a couple things. Yeah, and also very lucky is that people ripped the model from the 3DS, so get a pretty good view at like what's actually going on in game. Because in some ways it's a little bit different,
Hmm.
yeah, than his concept art. And then
It's so funny
next
they
up
got
I
like
got
different hands, right? Like like
oh yeah, he's
separated.
got like so many hands, and then a couple of I think facial expressions as well, and like the scrolls are all like broken up, and it's an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. I never seen something like that.
So they don't rig the hands, they just make different models?
It seems like it, yeah, because they're so limited,
Yeah.
right, with the sort of
Mm.
bone count and everything in the 3DS. So they got very creative with the
It's
yeah
so
their solutions for it.
interesting. I've never
Yeah,
seen that
it's really
before.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, me too, me too.
Yeah, then
Oh,
I got a couple of like pieces of fan art that I liked of him. Just kind of looking for different approaches to things. Like in this one, for example, the sort of flow and like framing, right, of the cravat and the collar is so interesting and the way it kind of continues into the face. Like I don't know what that is meant to be, but looks cool. Yeah, and then here this is like a sort of
I love
scene
that one. Little tea
so
party.
yeah,
Just putting up
yeah.
with it.
Yeah,
so
and
cool.
I love the contrast of him. Like he looks so angry, right,
Mm.
compared to everything else. And I almost want to have like maybe there's a pose, of course, that I'll be making for him,
Mhm.
but maybe I kind of want to like have a little one of him with some flowers or something as well that really doesn't match his whole aesthetic.
Mm,
Yeah. We haven't spoken about that
um,
yet, actually. So the essence of this challenge is that everyone gets given a predetermined pose that Adrian and I had decided. But a lot of people are doing, one pose that we've chosen for the group render, and then one pose for themselves that they feel like they would look better on portfolio or would suit the character in a different way.
that's true, that's true,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. So looking
Do
forward
you
to
have
seeing everything.
your pose here? What we chose for
Yes, I
you?
do.
This one.
Yeah. So he's gonna be pointing and have a bit of his wine in his other hand
Nice.
and the cape. I still need to start on the cape, but yeah.
Mm. Yeah, we gave you a bit of a challenge with this one because we realized he had quite a few props and things to play with. So, up to you how much you want to push this, but I think it'd be really, really funny to see him with all of his aura
Yeah,
and the whole vibe.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
agree. Yeah.
And you're
And
really
then
good with
other
that, like especially posing chaos. I think you can like easily
Yeah.
get this down, right?
Get a feeling out of it,
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, and then like other than that I always have this same set of like it's mostly anatomy for sculptors, like reference on faces and body parts.
Mm,
And a couple of sculpts like I always love these Dragon Age ones because I love how they do the planes on the faces. It's helped me like learn a lot about like, oh yeah, like foreheads, you got like here around the temple and then sort of corner of the eyebrow, right? That
mm.
line is very important and just as a reminder there. Um, and
Yeah,
then some
stunning.
faces as well. Because I
I can
really
actually
wanted
write that
him
down.
to look
From
I
which Dragon
really
Age is it?
oh, this is from Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Oh, thank you.
A lovely reference.
Yeah. Yeah, then this one, I was asking for handsome guys, and just shared this one.
Oh,
Um,
Jess knows handsome guys.
and then another one because like I felt like the sort of feeling of the face is quite similar for this one, but then
Mm.
Barok doesn't have much cheekbone, and it's been killing me a little bit. But it is what it is. Ooh, saying spoilers. So yeah, let's get started, I guess, with the progress. Like I said, I decided to sort of plan it out as a kind of low poly first. And I had the parts of the low poly for chaos because I did a bit of manual retopology on that because I thought, what if I made the eyes on their coat blink, which is very unrealistic. And then they ended up doing that in the game. So I was like, hey, at least I'm prepared for it if I
damn.
want to do that. Um, but yeah, I just started cutting all of that up into like little pieces and ended up with like something as a base that's quite clean.
So this is mostly box modeled in Maya?
Yeah, it's actually like retopologized, I guess, originally from the Chaos sculpt. And
Right.
then, like, because I had like the shirt underneath, it's easy to
Mhm.
make like a vest and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Would you usually start your models this way, like reusing what you usually had and then repurposing it?
It depends a little bit. Like, I'll usually kind of go scrounging for stuff that I've got already, just to have like a little bit less work to do. The thing is that if I know like I have to work fast, I will do this. And I'll do it even more extreme usually. I'll have like especially if there's like a base mesh or something already, I will do all of the clothing this way and have UVs on them already because like I
Right.
know it's gonna be more of a pain to do that afterwards. And it's easier to kind of like reproject the high than it is to try and match everything later. So
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It's nice to have a
Very
clean
clean workflow.
base. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Very ordered base.
yeah. It's not something I'd normally do, but I thought, okay, I can also like show something that might be helpful through my process. So I know this really worked for me if I had like tight deadlines or stuff like that. So, trying to trying to be organized,
Yeah.
not always succeeding. Um
Great, yeah, looking amazing. Jesus, I wish I had like Queen. I just go like it, dude. My process is so ham. It looks a little bit, yeah, like I'm butchering the character.
it's the same for me normally.
Let's go. Nice.
And so
yeah,
after
I
this,
yeah,
Oh,
I went on to like import. I think I
oh,
must have done the rest of the stuff. I did. I don't have a
did you see?
screenshot of it. I guess this is a screenshot. Um, I kind of moved some shapes for the face around in ZBrush and I added the hair using like a hairbrush, but everything else here was started in, or mostly started in Maya, I guess. Like I know the cravat I did in ZBrush because it's easier to move that around.
Mm.
The hands, I didn't have properly like retopologized hands, so my partner's like, dinner will be ready in 15 minutes. And I was like, let's see if I can retopologize a hand in 15 minutes.
Whoa.
And
that's
it
so
worked.
funny. That's so
But
funny.
we're not allowed to tell my work this. They don't need to know how fast I can
Yeah,
retopologize.
yeah. True, true,
All you just need is food as an incentive.
Yes. Yeah, food and a bit of a deadline.
true.
But yeah, I tried to get like most of the elements in there. Not like the little sort of hard surfacey bits, like he's got, like an emblem on his belt and stuff like that, but just the kind of basic shapes. And at this point, I was thinking, like, do I continue like from this point and do I make those things later? But I think I had like a little bit of time between tasks at work or something like that, so I ended up modeling a couple of the,
Mm,
like the pauldron I wanted to redo. I had like this little, yeah, belt emblem thingy and the, I don't even know what
Nice.
that is, detail on it. This is very simple one, luckily. And then this little thing here and this cross. And
Brooch thing, yeah. You usually do
yeah,
these all in Maya, the hard surfacey bits?
not always, but it kind of depends. Like, for this, I would say that they were quite straightforward. And I figured if I just do this in Maya, like I think maybe this like little shape, for example, it could have been a bit easier in ZBrush if I'd split it up into more different shapes. But for the other ones, I knew like, okay, they're kind of um yeah, basic shapes. And if I just add a couple of like extra edge loops, and maybe a bevel here and there to kind of like, yeah, I didn't really necessarily want to rely on creases for this,
mm,
because I wanted to kind of like control the size of the bevels right away instead of having to think about that in ZBrush. I really just wanted to be able to hit Ctrl D a couple times and be like, yeah, this is all right
Yeah.
for most of it.
Now, when it
Um,
comes to your approach, I'm just curious, do you
mhm.
usually like block everything out? Because for me, for example, I just like try to nail the face down and then I start like adding everything else because I cannot move on from the sculpt if I don't get like the face as I like it. But do you just like just making everything and then refining it?
Mm, It depends a bit. I think like it'll depend on the kind of project I'm working on at work at the time as well. Because if you have that kind of workflow where they're asking for a block out, right? Then that's what I start doing in my personal projects as well. And I get into the habit of like, okay, block everything out before I start working on the face. And yeah, I got this advice as well at some point, I guess, where it's like make sure that every part of a model that you work on is roughly at the same, I guess, level of detail at all times, because you might
Mm,
not see certain things if you're, like if I really started to polish the coat, but the rest of the clothing isn't subdivided at all, then I might get distracted by it and not see
mm.
the other issues that start appearing.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I think I had the same thing when I saw like detail in the face and the body was really blocky. It was hard for me to see if it all like will make sense at the end. It's like, am I going too far, or is it
Mhm.
like? So I think pushing both, you're like, okay, this is getting closer. You know what I like to see.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, it's like having visual reminders, and that's what I tried to do a lot because I don't know, it's like you got something in the fridge and you don't remember that it's there because you never see it.
It's like hiding
That's
behind the
what I'm
jar.
trying.
Yeah.
I'm always in the
Yeah,
fridge, dude. You know what I mean? I can find it.
I totally get
yeah.
what
So
you
it's like
mean.
you want that
Yeah,
picture of your food on the fridge. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to think about it.
That's
Yeah.
good. No, that's a good mindset for sure.
I think a lot of people that we've spoken to recently, actually, it's so important to have the final image of what you intend your character to be like
Definitely.
even quite early on, to have a picture. People poly paint early, people light early or pose early, in fact, to just have that sense of direction. And I think if you're kind of Frankensteining a bunch of ideas that aren't down on paper, you kind of lose track of your way at the end. So I see the process. I very much understand it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's one thing I'm struggling with for this. Like I still haven't quite figured out how I want the sculpt to look.
Mhm.
So I'm also you'll see this throughout the rest of the process, but I'm dragging my feet a little bit with it because usually I'll have like a very clear idea of like this is what I want the folds to look like and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um yeah, and I've yet to have that here. I think I'm getting there. I'm seeing something in my mind now, but yeah, it's partially like why it helps so much to have all this stuff in place because then you can kind of start like dragging bits all over the place instead of just like, okay, I'm going to focus, and I do this a lot anyway. I'm going to focus on the face first as a sort of proof of
Mhm.
concept to myself and then work on the rest. But yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't always all fall into place that way. Is what I'm
No.
finding.
I get what you
No,
mean.
no.
I think it's something that I'm trying to unlearn as well from work, because we're so set in a very linear way of working where you're not trying to break the mesh early on, it's trying to clean, and so it's easier for you later down the end. But now that we're doing like kind of just high polys or personal projects, the idea of breaking it early on or doing like a very ugly, messy test with things and pushing it to 100 to me is like completely against the grain, and I'm trying to unlearn that by watching how other people work.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also more because what we do is kind of more like a look dev instead of like
Yes.
kind of game ready characters. So we just wanted to see like, okay, is this the vibe I'm going for? You know, as soon as possible. And if you like it, okay, let me like make it look good now. So yeah, that's a really really good point you have over there, Jess.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. I'm gonna take that one on board as well. Um, yeah, like after this, I started like I
Mm,
like working
mm,
with
mm.
dynamic subdiv a lot, so I added creases where I had to. You can see the sort of hard surface bits are in there a little bit more, and I got started on the face, and yeah, I like adding sort of I guess like volumes and stuff, and like there's planes in there, but I'm trying to build the planes through like fat and muscle and that kind of stuff, even when the character really doesn't call for it. Um, And yeah, stuff like I'm trying to pay a bit of attention to the flow of things, but I haven't really, at this point, I didn't really dive into it that much yet.
Wow.
What
Wow, wow,
else?
wow. Yeah, it's so interesting how you sculpt faces, to be honest. I've seen a lot of like, you know, obviously in the challenge we have a lot of people sculpting, and I think you have the most like unique approach. Because usually people go like really, I guess, low and they kind of like block out, like it's really, how to explain it? It's like really, you know, chiseled and everyone is like really kind of low poly, but you really like, looks like like, you know, you
You've
sculpting it with your like fingers.
real clay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
you're
exactly.
Mm,
working it.
yeah, I guess it's I like having that sort of like being able to feel it in a way. I think I'm probably pretty terrible with actual clay, but yeah, I do try to think of it that way because it's like I love that sort of look on sculpts, even for games where it feels like it's kind of like handmade, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah, so it's I don't know how I started doing that. It helps me understand the shapes better, I guess. You know when people work on like a really sort of like block out version, like they have it like this the entire time.
Yeah.
That already took me like so much longer to just be able to do than everyone else I know because I
Mm.
couldn't look through it, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
Um I always had to subdivide stuff, and now I've gotten out of that. But then, I get to the face, and it's immediately like, yay, let's really get in there, and then go back from there. So I'll overdo it and then dial it down rather than trying to get it perfect the first time.
Mhm.
Which, yeah, I think that's a close up of it.
There
Hmm.
he is.
I see.
That's
Yeah,
the
so you're trying
man
to build up
himself.
that muscle and those forms, and you're exaggerating a bit in with intent to bring it back. I see.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember that they're there again. The picture on the fridge of what food is inside. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and then it's like from there, right? I started kind of
Oh,
experimenting with his face a little bit more.
There we go. Look at that.
It's like, yeah,
so
it's
these are iterations?
yeah, they're not super different, the three of them, but
No, but you can see the changes for sure,
Mhm.
like in the chin and mouth.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was kind of looking around, like, what do I want to do? And like, I think here I pulled his face forward a little bit as well, or it might be the angle. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Um, and sort of the length of his face as well, because it was bothering me a little bit where he feels like he has a very long face, but I wasn't sure if it actually was that long. And yeah, I just find it helpful to do a couple of iterations to kind of like show it to other people, but also for myself to remember like what am I trying to achieve, and also like yeah, being able to see different things, different like I guess 2D images of the same 3D character.
That's right, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And when you do like an iconic character like that, it's just like even small changes can like, bring the personality or just like, make him look like an NPC.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
With
exactly.
the Ace Attorney franchise obviously being more anime-esque, how are you approaching the likeness in 3D?
Yeah,
Ooh,
so
what question.
yeah, it's kind of challenging because I think a lot of like I noticed this a lot in the Ace Attorney concepts as well. The art director who did a lot of character designs as well for the Great Ace Attorney especially, he loves these kind of like upturned pointy noses, and you kind of see the same elements recurring a lot, right? So it's like an extra bit of challenge of how do you capture the character's likeness, but also make them look still like unique without it just being the hair or something like that. So I think one big thing is like trying to capture the personality, right, in the face, because like part of the likeness is the expression. And then other than that, kind of knowing what forms the face is like built up out of helps me a lot. It's part of why I do this like really sort of strange or exaggerated kind of block out almost, because I know like if I move like the nasolabial fold like slightly to this position, then that'll kind of give him the kind of scowl that I want him to have.
Mm,
Um, or like when you have the sort of furrowed brow, like all of the elements that come together for that in the face, like I forget exactly like what it's called, but it also creates like a dimple there, for example, and like that kind of
mm,
stuff. Like it helps kind of sell the believability of the face, right? So I tried to use all those elements that we kind of all share, in order to get it closer to how the concept art looks. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, I also don't like there's already a game model for him, right? And it's a really cool looking model. So I'm also like, I don't want to one make that. I'm not trying to imitate someone else's work.
Mhm.
So I do try to give it kind of my own spin. Yeah, and I think that's how I tried to achieve that.
nice. And then I see you have a little poly paint on the bottom. You start poly painting the bad boy.
Little sneak peek.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
I think here I took the third one and I started like I redid his hair basically. Or did I? No, that's the next one I think. No, I did redo his hair because he's got the little bits there now, I think. So yeah, like I added a bit of color to his face because also like the eyes, right? It always really helps to have a bit of
100%.
just the personal colors for the character and the personal contrast in their face, because then you really start seeing, okay, where do they look like them and where don't they? And I had like this, not that he had a lot of cheekbone, but I kept bringing it sort of back in there, and he really doesn't have any like it's just flat,
Yeah.
and it made me so sad. But it's part of how he looks.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like, for example, this here, like I think you see this kind of line from the cheekbone like to the corner of the mouth there in a lot of stylized art. I felt like he kind of does really need that, and he does need that more plainer look in there.
Mm.
But then still, like, I think something I went back on a little bit here is like I do want that sort of contrast between the nasolabial fold and then the what is it? Orbicularis oris, I think, for the mouth.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I am trying to sort of retain a bit of the muscle and like the fat in there, without making it too obvious. Because I think like a lot of the kind of anime look faces are very smooth, right?
Yeah.
So having that in there but not breaking everything completely is quite challenging.
Mm. That's really interesting. You're sort of fighting yourself for what you usually do, or like what you enjoy for the likeness of the character and the personality. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is like that with likeness sometimes. Like I am still trying to I have a lot to learn about likeness. And I'm trying with every single
Amen.
sculpt
Me
to
too.
kind of it's so hard. Like you're never done, you know? So I'm
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
with every sculpt a little bit, like to move a little bit closer to what I should be doing instead of what I want to be doing.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I struggle with that too. Even like, I think the hardest for me is like to understand what makes the character like unique. You know what I mean? Like the one feature that pushes it. Like you know what I mean? I kind of make it like blah, and then I just keep on like bashing it until it looks like a little bit better. You know, I wish I just knew initially. It's like okay, the cheekbones is the play. You know what I mean? So I need to really emphasize that. You know, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, some really good advice I got about that actually is like you know as artists we kind of feel like it's really nice to be in the zone, right? And when you're in the zone you're getting so much done and it's great. It's the best place to be. And I got told, "Lauren, before you get into the zone, get up and stop. Don't get into the zone because that's where you start making mistakes. Because that's where you kind of go on autopilot and you need to be making conscious decisions when you're making a likeness. You know, you need to like and this was from a talk that I attended at CG 101, and I can't exactly remember the artist's name right now, but he mentioned that when he's trying to troubleshoot problems in his likenesses, rather than trying to look at a picture and like move things to match the picture, he'll look at an area and kind of ask like, what is wrong with this? You know, why is it wrong, and like, how do I fix it? And trying to analyze what you're doing rather than just trying to you know, like let it fix itself with more sculpting. And I found that really helpful.
Yeah, it is. It's more of a like scientific approach, I guess. Because artists, I think we tend to trust our instincts in a way, or like we'll know it when we see it. But with something with likeness, you kind of have to break the tunnel vision of what you've been seeing for so long and maximize it to something. Forget it's a person, image to image. What am I looking at? And asking yourself those questions to kind of get closer to the final product. That's really interesting.
Mhm.
I'll be using that as well.
Yeah, but it's exactly that. And it's also like, I think what helps me a lot is knowing that as humans, like we're good at recognizing patterns, even if we're not aware of it. And a lot of like things that look nice in art, right? That's us seeing like, we've seen the pattern 100 or 1,000 or whatever times. And we know like when we do this thing, it's the most appealing. And I tried to like put that into words as well when I'm giving feedback, because I feel like that helps it stick. If you know the sort of definition of something, like it has a name, this is what it is, and this is how you do it. And yeah, kind of taking that break, not getting into that state of flow too much, because sometimes you need it. You know, you need to finish the sculpt now. You got to do it as good. But for certain elements, and you'll see it later as well in the process. I'll take a screenshot, I'll draw over it and stuff to kind of have that breakaway from yeah, being in that sort of ZBrush only, like yeah, just keep sculpting over it and it'll fix itself
Yeah,
state.
Mhm.
that's a really nice takeaway. Really, really good.
Uh, yeah, I think here. So this is
Oh,
sort of the next step. I was trying to like polish everything.
He's looking angry.
Yeah,
yeah, the mood is
and
coming in.
Yeah.
yeah, I did feel though there was something about him that was looking a bit too boyish.
Mm.
Like I felt like I'm kind of happy with where the face is at now, but he looks younger than I want him to, and he's lost a little bit of like I don't know. He's almost getting a little bit too smooth. And I don't think I ended up changing the smoothness too much, but there was just something that started bothering me here. So I actually went back and like made changes, and
Oh,
I think
that's a
what it
really
ended up
lovely
Oh.
change.
That's a good
Thank
change
you.
right there.
It's just like trying to get sort of more of that angularity back in his face, because at the end of the day, it's like not just the um like one-to-one likeness that sells it, right? But like I said, the personality is a big part of, or the expression and everything is a big part of it. And when you think like sort of angry, evil characters, you think like, maybe there's like a bit of that, what do you call that? Like
The jawbone, like the
everything has a little
shots.
corner.
Yeah,
Yeah, like yeah,
angularity.
exactly. So yeah. So at this point, I was like, okay, I think the face is in a pretty good place. The mouth was still bothering me a bit, but I decided that's not gonna be something I can fix right now, and maybe it's something else, because you always end up finding stuff where like, oh no, it must be this, and you keep working on it and kind of tunnel visioning on it a little bit too hard, and then it's not that at all. It's something completely different. Um, so this is where, and I should do these in the right order. I started sort of taking the
Mm.
entire sculpt and like painting over it a little bit. Um,
We go. The
and
Lauren paint overs over here, dude. This is the gold mine.
oh, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm just gonna drink some water actually. Sorry, my mouth's getting very dry from talking.
So Lauren, you're
That's also
a mentor for a few people in the server, or have been, and you've been a mentor for a few years now. Do you find that doing these kind of paintovers, did you do them for yourself first before becoming a mentor, or did you do them for other people first and then start bringing them into your own work?
Yeah, so that's actually it's kind of interesting, because I think like for I used to do outsource feedback at work, and it's very common there to do paint overs for other people, right, to communicate something. And at some point, there was an art director, and I think at that point I was mid-level character artist, and I really felt like, I am a mid character artist. I kind of felt like, well, work is work, and I'm cool with being like a mediocre artist. This is really my thinking at the time. I was very sort of like all or nothing. I spoke to this art director, and I asked him about how do you push something in this style, and in addition to that, I really noticed the difference between my own work and more senior artists, like people with more experience, but also just, I don't know, a lot of other artists like that are younger at this point, because the graduates like coming out of universities, like their portfolios are crazier and crazier every year.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, and I kind of asked him like, how do I bridge that gap? Because I feel like I'm at this point where the feedback I get from people is like, yeah, this is good, and I don't really know how to push my work any further. And he told me that every really good artist that he knew had a way of solving problems that wasn't necessarily in 3D. And it doesn't matter like if they had like photography or 2D art, or I don't know, like he said you can get creative with it and make a collage or something if you have to, but they don't care how they solve a problem. They're not always trying to like stay in ZBrush, do it that way. And he showed me that his preferred way is you take a screenshot or do a render, whatever, you take it into like Photoshop and you do a paint over, and not necessarily a big paint over. Like it's not about making pretty art. It's about, like maybe you're looking for like specific flow in the character. So you just start drawing over that. You start drawing some lines, or, maybe you move the shapes around a bit with liquify, this kind of thing. And he said it's kind of like flipping the canvas, right? You do in 2D art, but you do it in 3D by just looking at it in a completely different way.
Mm.
Um, and that's kind of when I started doing paint overs for myself, because yeah, I realized like, oh, that is actually really helpful, and you start troubleshooting problems way faster. And then I took that into mentoring, because it's so hard to explain art just with words. You need the image with it to kind of, if you really want to show something, especially because I do a lot of mentoring with people that are neurodivergent like I am. We need a bit more of the like picture, definition, or like word definition, where it's very clearly laid out. Because I think a big thing with art, especially when you're starting off with 3D art, is you have a lot of questions in your mind, and you're like, how do I do this? How do I do that? This is confusing, and it can, like, especially I think for neurodivergent people, it gets in the way of what you're doing, because you get stuck on that question because it becomes overwhelming.
Right.
So yeah, that's I hope I answered the question with that, but that's kind of how I landed on doing paintovers for mentees as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I started out, it was almost I had too many questions, and also I didn't even know what to ask because I didn't know what I didn't know, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. There
yeah,
was just there's almost too much to learn and not enough resources out there. And I think
yeah,
for me, having a mentor anyway was the difference in becoming someone who just does 3D art and then someone who understands 3D art. So
yes,
yeah,
yeah.
I have a lot of appreciation for people who take on mentorships, take on mentees like you do, and put in a lot of effort for paintovers. And also, while I'm on it, thank you so much for doing a lot of feedback and paintovers for people in this Discord too. I know
Uh-huh.
you put in a lot of time
Bremo.
and effort and like so much text to making sure it's clear but concise and making sure that you're getting your point across. It's really excellent. It's like I'm learning so much as well from you doing feedback for other people.
You are insane. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's exactly like what I want to do because I think the 3D art community, like a lot of the time, not on purpose, but it can be a little bit of like, oh yeah, study your anatomy or learn this thing. But I just remember being in that position and reading that feedback, and I'm like, yeah, but what is wrong with it though? Because you
Mm.
know that
Mm.
diagram where you have the like I think it's the sort of your observation skill and like your technical skill or something. They're always like doing that thing.
Yeah, the
And
dance. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, my aim with that is like how do you get people to go through the dance faster? It's by helping them see, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to achieve with the feedback as well. To kind of make it a bit more accessible for people and also like, okay, I might know how to explain this in a way that even if just one person gets a little bit from it, then that's my job done. Like it makes me really happy when, other people have fun with stuff and you get to see their process and it's like, yeah, you go. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, this gives so much energy.
Do you mind if we jump into your ZBrush file and have a look at how Barok is kind of looking at the moment?
Yeah, sure. Um, let's see. I'm just gonna show like a couple of
Oh, sure.
I tried to like analyze
Mm.
the model a bit as well, and you get like weird conspiracy theory shapes and stuff. And um I found that his head was too small. So this is kind of like where we're at right now, where
Nice.
I'm gonna grab my tablet pen.
Look at that boy.
Yay. So his face is still the same. I have managed not to touch it. I think this thing has kind of not
Just
subdivided
the classic.
as it
Let me
should.
just quickly fix this real quick.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been trying to like look kind of at there was a whole paint over I did of like this is what I want the flow to be like, and it felt a bit too constructed, I guess I'll say. So I'm trying to dial that back a little bit again, and I'm not happy with the shape on his arms, but that's also part of being an artist. He's got such long
Unhappy.
legs.
Yeah, it's always I have the same. Yeah, it's like the legs are too short or too long.
Yeah, yeah. He's I think it doesn't help that he has his like I don't know. They're just not nice trousers. Yeah. I'll be moving like probably some stuff around still, but I'm kind of at the point where I can like start blocking in some folds and make his torso look less whatever this is.
How far do you plan to go before you pose? Are you planning to do folds beforehand or after you get into motion?
Um, yeah, I think like this is maybe how far I will take it. Maybe a little bit more polish in some areas where I don't think there's gonna be like too much. I'm trying to kind of use the folds to define the shapes of his body a little bit more, I think, before I start posing. And yeah, then some stuff like the collar just isn't gonna have that much going on. The trousers, I think this is where I'll have it before I pose. So yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been really exciting to see all your progress and even your syncing with your thread to see where we're taking Barok. And we will
Yeah,
go. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it's
thank you.
yeah, amazing job. Jesus.
I'm going to switch back to our big cameras.
Yeah.
I have a last question for you. You mentioned a few times how, you're trying to find gaps in work or like when time isn't so busy. How are you managing your full-time job and also doing a personal project like this?
Hmm. Um, it's challenging. Like, I definitely think it's not for everyone because it can be really stressful. And I like as we talked about earlier, is Chaos was one of the first personal projects, or the first personal project I finished in like 4 years' time. In part because I felt so, I don't know, kind of like burnt out on art. Um, and I know that I cannot do these kind of personal projects if like I got a lot going on in my life, like I'm very stressed, and I know that if I start pushing myself in those moments is not good for me. So my approach is very much like, am I in the right mind space for this? And the answer is yes. And like usually it'll get a lot easier if it's like this community is so nice because like it really gives me energy, like seeing other people make progress, and I'm like, damn, that's so good. Like I want to do that too. It becomes a positive thing instead of like, I'll have a deadline, I have to finish this. So yeah, I tried to just like, maybe even if I'm able to spend like half an hour a day on it, and I won't do that as consistently, but if you can do like an hour just 2 to 3 times a week, you already make a lot more progress than you think you would because you're kind of condensing a lot of decision making into that hour. So yeah, just little by little, I tried to get to that point where I'm like, okay, cool, this is looking a bit better, and now I have my answers for the next bit, and that'll go faster. And yeah, instead of burning myself out on it, I just tried to make sure I do the tiniest bit, because sometimes that's already a lot more than you think.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's just 15 minutes while dinner's getting ready, it's better than not working
It's
on
a
it at
whole
all.
handwritten apology.
A
That's
whole,
insane.
this is true. Yeah, that's kind of world record
I need
pace.
to do this strat, dude. I need to like tell my friends to call me for dinner if there's none, just to get my speed.
We can start
Okay.
competing, like call the Guinness Book of Records, and before we know it.
Hell yes. Hey, next challenge, dude.
But thank you so much for your time, Lauren. It's been really cool looking at your progress through Barok and very excited to see how it developed.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Okay. So bye
See you in
from
the
us
next episode.
and bye from Todorowski.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.